Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am on a quick break from work and I wanted to sort of put this out there. Something happened recently. There was a person that I know who they were drinking alcohol and they were in a club setting and made a bad decision and decided to put their hands on a bouncer. And this bouncer proceeded to beat the brakes off of them. So apparently the beating was pretty bad. And I was talking to another individual about it, and I made the comment, well, if they were Muslim, I referenced Islam. If they were Muslim, then, these things can be avoided. So the person says to me, well, you don't have to be Muslim to have common sense. And I said, well, common sense is not necessarily the issue. And they said, well, common sense is everything. And I said, no, not, it's not. You must have common sense, obviously. I mean, should play a part in your decision making process. I said, but what's more important than common sense is lifestyle. Lifestyle could have avoided this problem. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, look, as a Muslim, Islam dictates all aspects of our reality, our decisions, what we engage in, where we go, where we don't go, who we engage with, who we don't engage with, what we're into, what we're not into, what we should avoid, what we should run to. Lifestyle. Islam dictates our lifestyle. So when you look at common sense, there's a very good TED talk by a sociologist. His name is Duncan Watts. And he talks about and defines exactly what is common sense. And that common sense is not exactly what we think it is, that it's actually a sort of a complex thought process, that common sense does not really guide us through complex situations. And he goes in to break it down. Anyway, you can look it up for yourself. His name is Duncan Watts. It's a TED talk, and it's titled something in reference to common sense. So I said to the person, I said, again, lifestyle, or Islam dictates our lifestyle. And, as Muslims, we don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't gamble, we don't go to casinos and put ourselves in these positions that we lose everything. I said, because of the lifestyle, everything that these situations have to offer is not on our radar because we're not even in those situations. I went to Chicago last 4th of July, and I read something in reference to there was a nightclub that was letting out, and somebody pulled up in a van, opened up the door, and sprayed the crowd and shot like 18 people. All 18 of those people didn't have common sense. You can't say that. But lifestyle dictated that they were in that situation. See, as a Muslim, I wouldn't have been there, so there's no opportunity for that event to affect my life. Could I get shot walking in the grocery store or walking, getting gas for my car? Well, of course you can, but those are necessities. I have to go to the grocery store. I have to put gas in my car. I don't have to put myself in a position to be in an environment where, although I may have common sense, that doesn't mean that the person on the other side of the bar who's drinking or high and doesn't have the same moral compass as me, or doesn't have the, can't maintain or hold his liquor, as they say, that his actions won't affect me because I'm in that environment. Islam protects us from all kinds of harms and ills that seem to be top tier for much of the society. So lifestyle, Islam protects us from many of the things that affect and afflict the common person. And I could really go down the rabbit hole of all the things that Islam protects the Muslim from. So I just, I wish people could really see the beauty in Islam, and how Islam protects the human existence and how it enhances and enlightens the everyday today living of a human. There's so many aspects of the burdens that the average person carries that as a Muslim are not even on my radar. I don't have to worry about ever getting a DUI. I don't ever have to be worried about getting shot in a trap spot. I don't never have to worry about gambling addictions or things like this, because I don't engage, or as a Muslim, we don't engage in those, types of, what's the word? We don't engage in those types of activities. So everything that those activities have to offer, it goes right over our head or right past us, and it's not on our radar. My father used to live next to a guy, and this guy was like the concierge for a very, very popular, I don't know what the legal ramifications are of saying the name, so I won't, but it's one of the more popular casinos. I think here in the U.S. they have them in Vegas. They had one. Well, they actually have it here in my city now. Anyway, he told me that I ran into this gentleman one day and I asked him, how's the casino business? And he said, I had to get out of that business. I said, why? He said, because I was miserable. I said, why? He said, because every week I would get a grown man knocking on my door on his hands and knees, crying because he just lost his home gambling. His house. He put his house up. He lost his 401k. He lost his children's college money. He lost, his car or his wife's car or something to this effect. And he was crying and begging, please let me have it back. And he said the best that he could do was offer them a steak down in the casino restaurant. Because if you bet the house and you lost, it's gone. If you bet your car, 401k, kids' college fund, it's gone. He said, so it was miserable. And, to make a long story short, I had to do I had a business event that happened to be not on the casino floor, but in a ballroom connected to a casino. I've never been in a casino in my life, but I had to walk through a casino to get to where I needed to get for this career fair. This was a couple years ago. And it was like 9:30 in the morning. And as I'm walking through the casino, I'm seeing men in there in business suits, and I'm seeing men in there in blue collar, plumber, carpenter type uniforms, and all these different people. And the casino was just like what you would see in the movie. There was flashing lights and bells going off and all. And I'm thinking to myself, bro, it is 9 in the morning. How or why are you in here gambling? What is going on in your life that you can't find anything else better to do with your time, your effort, your money than to be gambling at 9:30 in the morning? It was a bunch of guys. And I was just really, really blown away, man. I was amazed at, it's really early in the morning and you guys are in here gambling. Allah tells us in the Quran that with the gambling and the alcohol that there is some good in it, but the harm outweighs the good. So stay away from it. Khalas, that's it. So yeah, there may be something in it that is fun or enjoyable or whatever, but the harm outweighs the good. Allah says, stay away from it. We stay away from it. And all of the ills connected to it, we become armored, shelled. There's a barrier between us and it. And that's based on our submitting to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger have advised us in reference or in regards to these issues of gambling and alcohol, lifestyle, clubbing, drinking, partying, and everything that comes with it. So I just wanted to sort of throw this out there real quick while I'm on this quick break from work. I'm about to head back in. So I'm really curious. What do you think carries more impact on a person? Common sense or lifestyle? And I would never, or I'm not going to relegate it or break it down to a zero-sum equation, meaning it's all of one and none of another. You must have common sense in everything you do. You should have common sense. But I think lifestyle on a day-to-day basis probably carries or is more impactful. But within that lifestyle, you have to use common sense. So I don't want to take common sense out of it. You have to have common sense. Yes. Before anybody comments and says, well, you got to have common sense. I agree. You have to have common sense. But lifestyle is going to dictate a lot of the environments and the situations that you put yourself in that carry a lot of harm, possibly death, addictions, problems. So with that said, I'll let everyone go. Please let me know what you think. I am curious what you think on this topic. So let me know. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.